Bring on autumn and the burr months. Before we get there, though, we have to close up August and hopefully leave that summer heat behind us. But now that I think about it, September is actually one of our warmest months, so maybe not just yet. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Carrie from InvisArt Planners, and I talk about all things digital planning and stationery on this channel. Today, I'm wrapping up August in my digital planner, setting up a Doggo Adventure scrapbook style page that's been inspiring some new widget designs, and setting up September. So grab your planner or journal and come plan along with me. Hopefully you'll pick up an idea or two. August, like the last few months, really revolved around work and spending time with our dogs. We got our puppy Teddy in April, and it's been a total whirlwind ever since. The first thing I'm doing to close up August is add in some memories for the last week. Sometimes I end up adding everything in at the end of the month, but this month I filled in a few stories as it went on. So for this last week, we've been working with our dog Doggo on being calmer in the car and had a really great ride on Sunday that I wanted to remember. And Teddy had a great time exploring the complex where we get his food a couple of days later. I cropped these images down in GoodNotes and added quick notes about each. I used to be really picky about precisely cropping each image to the point where I'd upload them to the computer and use a cropping template that fit each box perfectly, and then imported everything back onto my iPad. But over time, I ended up avoiding doing it because it was too cumbersome to deal with, and I just didn't have the time. And I've slowly learned to be less picky about it. There are times when precision is absolutely important, but this isn't one of them, and I'm learning to let that go. I keep telling myself that it's not about perfection, it's about the story, and I'd rather have it imperfectly in my planner than not at all. For the August dashboard, I did check in with it through the month, but I didn't add any notes or mark anything off, so I took a quick moment to do that. And as always, my favorite part of any month is adding in my monthly faves. I'll leave myself notes for what to add as the month goes on, and sometimes it changes. Like one of these photo sections was gonna highlight an impromptu family reunion we had this month. I had a great time, but I decided that I wanted to capture something about all three of our doggos instead. And I mean, I couldn't get rid of this last image of our matcha lattes because I tried my first one last month, and now I can't get enough of it. I know I'm super late to the matcha party, but I guess better late than never. Like I said earlier, our lives have mostly been about our dogs and getting work done. So this monthly faves page includes a lot of them. Teddy, our golden retriever puppy, is finally fully vaccinated and can go on adventures. So a few of these pictures are of our boys at pickleball. We're super excited that they can come and hang out with us there. But we don't really see them too much once we get there because our friends take them on walks and everybody has a really good time. We're also working on their relationships with each other. And towards the end of the month, Teddy and Doggo finally started to relax around each other, which they had a really hard time doing. So that's a story that had to be included here. And here's a quick time-saving tip. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's a really good one. Save your commonly used text formats, groups of text, and images as elements in GoodNotes. Your text format, like the line spacing, color, font, and size, will be saved, so all you have to do is update the text. I especially love that the line spacing gets saved. It makes typing out lists faster and easier, and it saves me so much time. I use them the most on this monthly faves and my weekly spreads the most. These text blocks that I use as captions for each image is saved as an element. Now all I have to do after adding them is update the color and tell the picture's story. use pages to add a border and slight shadow to my pictures before adding them to my planner. To create them, I drew a rectangle with rounded corners, changed the background to be an image, and added a border and a shadow. If you want to see how I do this more specifically, check out the video in the corner above. It's also in the description. We weren't able to do this for a good long while. I think it hasn't worked since like late last year. Dragging images from pages into GoodNotes added a black square around images that had rounded corners or that were shapes other than squares or rectangles. So I'm glad that we can do this again, because there were a couple of workarounds, but this is much easier. So I've been thinking about simple ways to do some memory keeping, for those small day-to-day moments that I'll miss one day. Not the big events that I think I'll probably always remember. I've been more consistent with my journal, but that's not what I'm looking for, because that's mostly for meandering thoughts, and it's usually for my eyes only. And I love the idea of scrapbooking. There are so many amazing examples out there, but I don't have the bandwidth or time to add that to my already long list of hobbies. I've also thought about digital scrapbooking and then having them printed into books, and I might do that from time to time for big events. But again, time and bandwidth are issues. Plus, the little things that I want to remember would probably get lost in a notebook somewhere in an attempt to capture it so I can write it down someplace else later. So I've been more deliberate about using my planner for those little moments. I've been doing it off and on for the last couple of years, and I've been really consistent with my monthly faves page, which is a start. I really love looking back through those monthly faves. I also love the way planners capture life in a certain season. My to-do lists and timetables tell a pretty straightforward story of what my life looked like at a certain moment in time. So this seems like a great place to add in those little things that I want to capture. So this month, I'm using the grid builder to remember some of the adventures we went on with our doggos last month. Like I said, our puppy is finally fully vaccinated and he can go out on adventures. So we've really been making an effort to take him out, to get him acclimated to different places. I find blank pages to be pretty intimidating, but having a grid helps. If I have an idea of what I want to capture, there are widgets I can add with an underlying grid as a starting point. It gets me doing something other than overthinking, because I have a tendency to get caught up in the possibilities, and starting is usually the hardest part. But once the ball is rolling, it becomes easier to create and tell stories. I'd love to be able to create beautiful scrapbook style pages that only loosely rely on a grid or are wonderfully asymmetrical. But like I mentioned with cropping photos for the calendar, I'm learning that done is better than perfect, and capturing stories is more important than having a page look perfect. Maybe with more practice and finishing more pages like this, I'll feel freer to play and try different things. But until then, I'm happy that I have these tools to help me tell my stories. The endless possibilities of a blank page are actually what made using the bullet journal system as my main planner difficult. I wasted so much time overthinking about what each page should be and how each layout should go. I felt the pressure to make my bullet journal aesthetic, but more than anything, I didn't know how I wanted to use the space, because I like having systems and headers and defined areas, and it was hard for me to visualize and create that with a blank page, especially because I often didn't know how much space different sections would need. So now, my bullet journal is just a collection of daily to-do lists, with a few random thoughts sprinkled here and there, and notes about how my day went. There are no monthly spreads, weekly pages, or collections. No overthinking. Just simple, straightforward, daily to-do lists, and some notes about the day. To build this page, I'm testing out some photo and blank/sticky note style widgets. There are a few included with the planner that are great for journaling or memory keeping, like these favorite widgets, daily wellness, evening check-in, and there are a few smaller ones for gratitude and currently listening to or reading. But for this page, I'm looking for storytelling space. So I've been messing around with photo widgets with space to add stories to. I already have these photo widgets that fit our grid that feel like Polaroids, with some extra space to write some notes. It's inspired by what you saw on our monthly faves page. But I also made blank ones that can be whatever you want or need them to be. It's just a way to carve out a dedicated space for whatever you're trying to do. And I find that really helps me figure out the function of a page. I've been wanting something like this for a while to have defined areas for the stories that I want to tell too. So what do you think? Is there anything you'd like to see with these widgets? We're working on a bunch of sets right now, like updating our fitness set and adding some pet widgets. So if you have any thoughts on those, I'd love to hear them in the comments below too. As far as the stories on this page go, I have a list of what we're focusing on for each dog on the right side of the page. And the rest of the spread is stories that stood out from this past month. I already talked about taking the dogs to pickleball and working on car rides for Dobe earlier. But the story in the bottom left corner is about how we're trying to find a balance between letting our senior pup run around like the young dog he thinks he is and having him rest so he doesn't get overly tired. And the other section is about taking Teddy to the beach. It's actually a picture of our old dog Chip at the beach because we didn't take any pictures when we took Teddy. While part of the reason we don't have any pics is that we wanted to stay present and enjoy the moment that won't come around again, the other part of it was that we were focused on keeping him safe since it was his first trip to the beach. He was a little bit afraid of the waves, but he absolutely loved digging in the sand. So I used this picture instead so I could still capture the story. Oh, and a couple of specifics. The font that I'm using from the headers is called Agbalumo, and it's free from Google Fonts. The rest of the text is set in the font Vividly, which is also free from the font. And I used the app iFont to install them on my iPad. If you'd like a tutorial on how I added fonts to my iPad so I could use in my digital planner, let me know in the comments. My monthly calendar is pretty fast to set up. To start, I highlight important dates. They normally indicate birthdays, but this month there are several anniversaries to remember and celebrate too. And then I add in any events and appointments. There's only a couple of events and pickleball to add right now, but it normally fills out as the month goes on. At the start of the month, I find the calendar looking pretty dull and boring. It's just a place for appointments, events, and reminders. But it'll be full of photos, memory, and life in general by the end of it, like you saw for August, and I can't wait. My dashboard setup goes pretty quickly. I did my brain dump before filming this, so I already know what I want to add to the different sections. If you want to know more about that, check out this video linked in the corner and the description. I'm copying my garden and doggo list from August because it's mostly the same. Especially the dog list, because that's not for to-dos. It's mostly to keep track of what we're working on with each dog. When I set up each month, I like to have a second color that complements the base monthly color. The base monthly color is for work. The second color is for personal tasks and events. So this month, I'm doing the opposite of what I did last month. Last month, the base color was our sky blue, and that indicated work. And I used lilac widgets to indicate personal ones. This month is the exact opposite. I usually try and save the mint green for garden and dog stuff, as long as it's not the monthly base color, and the creamsicle orange usually indicates exercise or outdoor high movement events. Now that September's planned, bring on autumn. I can't wait for warm drinks and cozy evenings. I hope the month is good to you and that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more videos like this. If there's something you'd like to see in these Plan With Me's or other types of videos you want to see, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to see more Plan With Me's, check out these videos. Until next time, bye!